In my trainings, I make people play a certain game called Guess the Object I Am Talking About. So there will be two people back to back. One person will have a pen and paper, and the other person has to tell what's in his mind. Maybe he has a house in his mind, but in the game, he cannot say house. He must use geometric shapes. So he will communicate to the other, draw a rectangle. On top of that, put a triangle. Then the other person would have to understand what is a rectangle and what is a triangle. In this way, the other person looks at what he has drawn and might conclude that it is the drawing of a house that his friend had in mind. So, geometry is useful even to play small games. Whenever we are traveling, we have a concept of geometry. We look at the various shapes of buildings, of roads, of monuments, but still, the most important use of geometry when we travel is when we use maps or Google Maps. There, roads are shown as parallel lines, then buildings are shown as rectangles. In this way, we can have an approximation of how far a certain place is from where we are based on how we read the various shapes in the map. Let's just say that in the map, the intersection of two roads that you are supposed to be at make a 90-degree angle. But when you are supposed to be in that place, the angle is not more than 30 degrees. Based on that, you realize that you must be in the wrong place. So this is how geometry comes handy when we are navigating. Whenever we are involved with some kind of construction work or do it yourself or DIY projects, knowledge of geometry comes in very handy. If you want to make a circle based on the property that you had studied, all you do is have a center and take a string and a pencil, then just rotate that pencil and you will have a circle. Then if you want to arrange your furniture so that it forms a rectangle, just arrange each set of two or pairs at 90 degrees to one another, and eventually you'll get your rectangular arrangement. So yes, geometry is everywhere in the physical world. Needless to say, for professionals in the construction business, the knowledge of geometry helps create stable and safe designs. For example, any load-bearing pillar is better off being perpendicular to the ground than at a slanting angle. Of course, there is a lot of physics involved in this, but we must know about angles and the properties of various shapes, such as triangle. They provide the most stable form, and thus they are used as truss in the roofs. Algebra is maybe a headache for many students because it's a beginning of advanced mathematics. It's the point where we stop seeing its usefulness totally. Up till geometry, we could visualize mathematics and it was useful. But then, what's the use of making an equation and trying to value of x? It just seems that those mathematicians and educationalists wanted to give us a headache. Then, the further you go into the chapter of algebra, the longer and more complicated the equations that needs to be solved become. It is little consolation to say that by knowing algebra, you will have access to professions in engineering, finance, software, trading, you'll say maybe, but I'm going to be an actor or sports person or a TikToker. What's the use of algebra for me? Let's say that you are supposed to bill a client for a service you provided worth 10,000 rupees. And then the client asks you, are you talking in gross amount or net amount? Of course, you will say that this is the amount after all the taxes are deducted. The client replies, the tax is 15%, so please send me an invoice for the gross amount so that I can pay you your 10,000 rupees. Now, if you do not know algebra and you are simply using arithmetics, most likely you will quickly come with the number 11,500 as the gross amount. However, if the client deducts 15% from that gross amount you billed, you will get only 9,775 rupees, which is less than your desired 10,000 rupees. Now, in order to get the correct amount, you need to use algebra. You have to suppose that x is the gross amount. So the formula will read something like x minus 15% of x is equal to 10,000. By simplifying and eventually solving this equation, you'll get the gross amount of 11,764 rupees. Then when the client will deduct 15% in that, you'll get exactly 10,000 rupees. So you see that even though you are not in all of the technical fields, even if you are a YouTuber and you want to get paid correctly, you need some kind of algebra, at least the basic one. Then talking about coordinate geometry, which is the combination of algebra and geometry, I have found that many students have no idea of how to read a graph. Just knowing that a graph is the relationship between two variables x and y is hard for many people. But then once you understand that if a curve or a line in a graph is slanting upwards from left to right, it means that every time the value of x increases, then the value of y increases. Then this opens a door to so much insights. You will be able to read the graphs about the economy that is published in the newspaper. You will be able to understand whether it is the good times or the bad times by looking at that graph. Not only that, on a personal level, by looking at your time versus weight graph, you will be able to understand whether your diet and lifestyle is helping you maintain your weight, or the trend is in a direction that's not desirable. So just by knowing about algebra and coordinate geometry, you will be able to make better judgments and decisions. Even when you are traveling, geometry gives us a sense of position, direction, but in order to reach the exact place, you will need to have your proper coordinates that we call longitudes and latitudes, which is nothing more than the point x and y in a graph, but here it is the world map. So there are plenty of uses of this component of mathematics, being able to make simple equations quickly and solve them, then seeing the various problems in the world as a graph is very useful to solve problems and interpret any data.